As a result of a favour owed, CM Punk will have his best mate Paul Heyman in his corner when he main events WrestleMania Night 1, taking on Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns triple threat style. But what if the favour that the Wiseman owes the Second City Saint is bigger, much bigger than we all think? Now, back at Survivor Series, CM Punk stood alongside his WrestleMania opponent, Roman Reigns, and the rest of the OG bloodline, turning back the challenge of the Rogue Tribal Alliance, but had only agreed to do so in return for a favour from Paul Heyman. The terms and conditions were only known to the broker and the non-smoker. Was the favour to have taxis and red phone boxes on the stage for a UK show once again? Sadly not, the cowards. The favour was revealed during the contract signing for the much-hyped Mania 3-way between Reigns, Rollins and Punk. A deal played out in front of a loud London crowd and security, played by some beloved UK indie stars. Hello, Miles Kamen. Hello, Will Cruz. Hello, Jacked Stacked Daddy Shreddy. It came to light that to secure his services in the Bloodline War Games battle, CM Punk wanted Paul Heyman to be his manager once more and wanted him to walk him to the ring at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns balked at this idea, but Heyman was honor bound. Not only because Heyman is true to his word all the time and... Sorry, I thought I got a nosebleed there. But because of his past that he shares with Punk. CM Punk was the first person to declare himself publicly a Paul Heyman guy, which started a whole t-shirt thing off. Heyman was also a CM Punk guy himself, which is true both in front and behind the cameras. They worked closely together during Punk's time in OVW, and when Punk got called up to be part of WWE's new Coke version of ECW, he was there too. At the ill-fated December to Dismember pay-per-view, Heyman pushed for Punk to win the Extreme Elimination Chamber, and Vince hated the idea so much, it ultimately led to Heyman getting the boot from the company. Now, he and CM Punk stayed in touch. Punk found his way and became WWE champ, and Paul Heyman was by his side when he did as well. The two ended up feuding when Punk lost the gold, but behind the scenes, it was always all love. So it's clear that Punk and Heyman have been side by side for a long time, and doing so at Mania makes a lot of sense. The Paul Heyman character on TV, like in real life, was always presented as somebody with a trick up his sleeve. The contract for the triple threat match itself was announced as the main event of WrestleMania 41 Night 1, which in storyline is easily something Heyman could have negotiated on behalf of his guys. This is the guy, after all, who pushed to have ECW bankrolled by WWE. He took control of WrestleMania 35 so Brock Lesnar could fight Seth Rollins in the opening match. Heyman's the guy who convinced Vince McMahon to rehire him on multiple occasions and each time pushed the boundaries. So of course it's conceivable in storyline land that Paul Heyman, the master negotiator, got the triple threat the top slot. A lot of Heyman's biggest dealings, though, have been with private parties. In 2002, he was reintroduced to the world as the advocate for the next big thing, Brock Lesnar, until he cut ties and sided with the Big Show at Survivor Series that year. In fact, Heyman's history is littered with switching allegiances. He left Big Show for Kurt Angle. He became the Wiseman for Roman Reigns. He got fired by Reigns, realigned with Lesnar, only to snake him a few weeks later and fall back into the Bloodline camp. Heyman's even turned his shadiness on CM Punk back in 2013. He cost him the Money in the Bank briefcase, whilst extending the Paul Heyman guy stable to the likes of Ryback, Curtis Axel and Cesaro. With the timeline of treachery in the rear view, Paul Heyman will keep everybody guessing on the road to WrestleMania as to where his true loyalties lie, the tribal chief or his best mate. And I think I know. Heyman isn't alone in rocking and shocking the world, of course. CM Punk has made a career from turning heads. His 2 Money in the Bank cash-ins against Edge and Jeff Hardy, leaving WWE as champion as the contract expired during the white-hot summer of Punk in 2011. And of course, his return to WWE, which for a long time seemed as likely as pigs launching an aerodynamics company. But why would Paul Heyman mastermind the manipulation of the OTC? I mean, he's pledged allegiance to almost the death for Roman Reigns at every turn. Why would he throw away that passionate support? Well, why wouldn't he, for one? He's done it before. Paul Heyman's ride or dies tend to become ride and dies when the journey goes too long. Heyman also has a lust for glory. A lot of his client flip-floppery was so he could continue to say he's the manager of the WWE champion. Lesnar's a Big Show to Angle, Roman to Lesnar, back to Roman, all in pursuit of being the manager of the champion. Another reason is much more personal. and was outlined by Seth Rollins on Raw. For Roman, in this case, Paul Heyman suffered slings and arrows and a gnarly unstable powerbomb in defense of his tribal chief. And where was Roman when all this was happening? Well, he was at home, having a big old sulk about losing his belt, moping on the treadmill, sat in the garden blowing dandelion flowers, having tea parties with his daughter. Oh, Mrs. Nesbitt, I'd love some more Darjeeling, acknowledge me. If I were Paul Heyman, I'd be ready to ditch this bloke, but only when the time is right and when the pieces are in place. And with this favour with CM Punk, we may very well see the final move in this game of wrestling 4D checkers. So let's put on the what-if fedora for a moment, taking all that we've considered into account. Master checkers player Paul Heyman not only negotiates the menage a trois terrible as the main event of WrestleMania Night 1, but what if we can get that additional caveat that sees the winner of that match become the #1 contender for the WWE title? To the victor, the spoils of whoever survives Night 2 as undisputed champ. With that, we see Paul Heyman keeping us all guessing until the pivotal moment where his true living colours shine through and he costs Roman Reigns the match to the best in the world. Night 1 ends with CM Punk and Paul Heyman leaving together, friends reunited. However, the story of WrestleMania may not end there. Of course, it ends with Cody Rhodes surviving the war with John Cena in this story and pulling out the victory. The WWE roster filling the ring to celebrate with Cody, stopping Cena from taking the title and going home with it. And the ring clears to leave just Cody and his title. Oh, and CM Punk and Paul Heyman, who have suddenly stopped leaving the ring. Now imagine Cody's moment of victory, ultimate victory, completely wiped out by CM Punk hitting go to sleep. In the confusion, we see Paul Heyman handing a piece of paper to the ring announcer to declare that CM Punk's #1 contenders match is happening right now. A blurry 90 seconds filled with a wall of sound from the Las Vegas crowd sees CM Punk dropping Cody Rhodes one more time with one more go to sleep that completely takes out the champ and crowns a new one in CM Punk. Night 2 of WrestleMania ends with CM Punk with the WWE title over his shoulder and his best friend Paul Heyman by his side. Favour complete. CM Punk, the main event of WrestleMania, Night 1 and Night 2. CM Punk back on top of the industry as WWE champion. And Paul Heyman, not just back with his best friend, but once more aligned with the WWE champion. This favour could be far, far bigger than you or I could ever imagine. But of course, that's a silly idea. It's daft. I mean, why would they do that? Why would CM Punk be inclined to do something that's going to change the culture and shock the world? I mean, Paul Heyman is he's a genuine businessman. Why would Paul Heyman, not only in one weekend, cast aside somebody that he has supported for so long, but do so in favour of managing the WWE champion and once again being on top of the business? It doesn't seem in either of these guys' personalities to do something so abhorrent on such a grand stage, does it? Nah, very out of character. Stay safe. Love you, bye.